Welcome to Navigating Your Retirement. I'm your co-host, Tony Shore. I'm here with our host, Travis Chance. And Travis, I'm excited to talk today about what's going on out there. And do people really care? I think we've got a great topic today. You asked, are we numb to what's happening out there? And we'll dig into that. But first, how have you been? What's going on? Anything
Tony,
exciting?
it's football season, so
Yep.
obviously there's that. We're in the middle of getting into our class schedule for the year. Kids are back in full swing. Birthdays are popping up left and right. It's pretty busy around the Chance household.
Yeah.
So
Well, there were
uh,
two. We record this on a Tuesday, and last night there were two NFL games, and
there were, and Tyreek Hill, he's out for the season now. He blew
yeah,
out his knee.
terrible.
Yep. Yeah, the cheetah can't run on two legs, on one leg.
No, that was sad to see happen.
It was.
He's one of the greats.
Yeah, he's and say he's fractured his kneecap and tore
Yeah,
like a bunch of the tendons. So yeah, he's gonna be out for a while.
yeah. That's hard to come back from, even, but we'll see. Hopefully, he'll be back next season. Probably out this season.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone
Yeah,
for the rest of the time.
yeah.
But great start to the football season because I mean, my goodness, every week is like holy cow. 4 of the top 8 lost this week, including Georgia, which was kind of
Oh,
disappointing.
yeah.
But
College ball is crazy, isn't it?
yeah, it's nuts. It's like every week. I mean, there's just an absolute slobber knocker, as old JR said from WWE, and
Slobber knocker.
yeah, a good old slobber knocker. And every week is like, holy cow, like who's gonna lose this week?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, but
Yeah, in
hey,
college ball and
that's why it's
in the
fun.
NFL. In college and the NFL, it's been not predictable this year. I mean,
Yeah,
it's been tough.
there's a couple of them. Daniel Jones's resurgence with the Colts, and
Yeah,
I mean, there's like Cinderella stories everywhere you pop up. I
yeah,
think Aaron Rodgers is 3-1 with the Steelers.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's literally about to collect Social Security like next year, and he's throwing bombs and dimes in the Steelers.
Travis Chance is giving him a call going, "Hey, you turn 59 and a half pretty soon,
Yeah,
Aaron.
yeah,
We're going to want to
you're
move
gonna
those
have to.
401ks into an IRA or
Yeah,
a
you're gonna
Roth."
have that 10% penalty falling off. We need to do something. So,
Exactly.
but yeah,
I will be honest. I turned 59 and a half just 3 or 4 weeks ago.
get out of here. You don't look a day older 59.
Uh, uh, well, and who did I get find it? My phone rang the day that I technically turned 59 and a half. Who do you think it was? It was our buddy Jeff Foley
Okay.
calling me. Foley calling me. Hey, you're 59 and a half today. What do you want to do with that 401k? I'm like, Jeff, ease up, slow your roll, buddy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nothing like being opportunistic.
I laughed. I'm like, wow, way to wish
That's
me
diligence right there.
way to wish me a happy half birthday. But yeah, that's 59 and a half. We've talked about that. You've taught me well, Travis, that you don't touch any of those retirement accounts before then, and really don't touch them before retirement, but especially not before 59 and a half. Otherwise, you have to pay a penalty, 10% on top of the taxes, right?
Those age requirements just they trip up so many people. Now, I was talking to a client yesterday, and he was like, "So I'm confused. I was playing golf with a buddy, and so when do I take it? Is it 73, 75?" He's talking about RMDs. And I was
Oh,
like, I said, "Your birthday is 1960, so you have 19 or you can wait till 75." He's like, "Oh, okay," because my buddy told me it was 73. Well, his buddy was born 59, so
right. It makes a
he was like,
difference.
"We're basically the same age. What's the deal?" So yeah,
Yeah.
those numbers they tend to trip clients up, but that's it's 59 and a half is 10% penalty. 65 obviously Medicare, 70 and a half QCDs, 73, 75 RMDs. So
Sure.
yeah, there's a handful of them we got to watch out for.
Yep. So this morning, I asked you when we talked this morning, I said, Travis, are the markets going to be way down because of the government shutdown? I saw on CNBC and Fox Business that, the government might shut down. And you're like, oh, I think the markets will be fine. And they're somewhat numb, since they had a drop in April because of tariff talk, but we've been hit with so much, right? I mean,
Well, it's very it's very interesting this year because some of the headlines after the tariffs and after the start to the year, some of the headlines that you would think would just take the markets for a ride, right? I
right.
mean, 1%, 2% give up. That's not a huge swing, but yeah, after we had those 10% days back to back, essentially, it's like the market's like, holy cow, like to heck with this, or 5% days, not 10, but felt like
Yeah,
10.
new
And,
records,
and it's,
new records every day,
whether it's
practically.
politics, whether it's, the April tariffs, whether it's, unfortunately, one of the things that we have obviously struggled with this year are, there have been quite a few people that have been murdered, taken out. It's almost
Yeah,
like that's, the United Healthcare CEO. Then we had Charlie Kirk. You had
Charlie Kirk, so
the
sad.
the the guy in what was the guy in Utah? There was like when he went in and
Yep,
it's like every time you turn on the news,
and up
these are
here, a Catholic, church, a
yep, in
school with
Michigan,
little kids, and in Michigan, the Mormon
Michigan, yeah,
church, and
it's
then the
like
Democratic, senator up here.
yeah.
I mean, it's gotten out of hand.
Well, and what I think where I was going with that comment, and full disclosure, folks, Tony and I literally sometimes we bounce ideas off each other. And I got to the show this morning, and I'm kind of there with you. I mean, it's hard not to be numb sometimes whenever you just every time you turn around, you're just like, it doesn't surprise me. It's
Yeah.
not That's not a shock, right? And I really don't know how we've gotten here, but whether it's rhetoric, it's people, and what they say, and the social media barrage, and all these things, you know, now that we've gotten the first Fed rate cut, and that seems to be going not to plan, I would say, but as expected. Things like the government shutdown, I hate to say it, it's kind of a big deal, but nobody really is paying attention to it.
No,
And that's why I made the comment to Tony, and I was like, that's, I had a couple ideas for the show, and I was like, no, that's what we're going to talk about is the government shutdown is effectively going to happen, within days. And here we are right now. The markets were literally flat this morning. So typically, if you see a government shutdown, markets will give up 1 to 5%. It's not uncommon, but it's like no matter what, it's like we keep looking past and looking through these things. And I think, Tony, what that says to me is, and it goes off of what you also mentioned just a few minutes ago about the markets keep going up.
hmm
Well, what happens when they don't? Because we keep assuming, and I know you're probably out there listening going, well, Travis, that's why we use you, and I get that. But we are basically rebalancing and restructuring as we go. And every client listening to the sound of my voice, they have either we have advised them to trim or reposition or add assets to diversify in this environment over the last few months. But there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people in the market that are doing it themselves, Tony, and that, or may have an advisor that just says, I'll just keep doing what you're doing. If what you're doing is the right thing, that's one thing. But what if you're just expecting what has happened is what's going to continue to happen? What's that? They call it the hot hand fallacy in basketball. You assume just because you made the last 5 3-pointers, you're going to make the next five.
right.
Well, what if you're not Larry Bird? Right? I mean,
Yeah, right.
I
Yeah.
mean, that I think is worth a conversation. Is have we had so much happen over the last year, 2, 3, even since COVID, that we have become numb to the fact that things don't always go as planned, and things don't always happen the way we anticipate, right? Life is 10% how you react, or 10% what happens, 90% how you react to it. And that's honestly what I think a lot of people are really looking past. And you hear we talk a lot about football in here, and every coaches meeting they talk about, did you lose this week because you were looking ahead to next week, right? You look through this competition because you're thinking something's going to happen in a week or two, and you don't prepare yourself, and then you get caught flat-footed, and all of a sudden the outcome's not the one that you anticipated. Well, that's the same thing with retirement planning, Tony. Is I think, my personal opinion, I think right now we have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot to basically get on our knees and give thanks that we are blessed, because right now you are probably not, you have never been as high. And Tony, this is your 401k, my 401k, our clients' 401ks and IRAs. You've never been as high as you are right now.
Right.
So the question that I have is, what is the next step? Well, the next step is you have to be anticipating. The game plan is plan for the worst, hope for the best. And I know that sounds odd, Tony, when a market is just going straight up, because you're like, why should I think about protecting any assets? Why should I think about protecting my income whenever I'm just going to make more money tomorrow? I mean, think about that. It's really that simple. Is we get conditioned. We're human, right? We're, I don't want to say we're Pavlov's dog, but we keep hearing the bell, right? And we keep ringing, it keeps ringing, and we keep getting our treat. Well, I mean, we condition ourselves to expect this, and I think same thing. Or do we condition ourselves to expect bad news? That's the reason whenever things like this happen, we're like, not worrying about it. Not gonna affect me. But what if it does?
Yeah.
And that's why I tell folks, and I've started to have a more diligent conversation with our clients on this year. We have 3 months after today to do whatever tax planning we're going to do for 2025. Now, for a lot of people, including our clients, and this is just in the vein of preparation, right? In a lot of our clients, we have been postponing a lot of these conversations until after the big, beautiful bill was passed. Well, guess what? Now it's time to roll up your sleeves and go to work, because it's passed. And I had a client yesterday that we have honestly just put off Roth conversion for a number of years, because it just didn't make sense. They were working, and then they were working part-time, and then now they're not working at all. And with the way their assets are structured, like if they do what we're talking about doing, they could legitimately drop their RMDs by half and get close to, almost $500,000-$600,000 moved over into Roth over the next 4 years.
And that'll grow tax-free,
and
and
that's
the
growing
principal will
tax-free.
come out tax-free.
And we assume, right, tax-free, right? So if government goes up 100% on taxes, guess how much that account's going to be impacted? Zero. 100% increase on zero is zero.
Right.
And think about why I'm telling you this. It's not that things are not good today. They are, right?
Right.
But you don't prepare to weather the storm whenever it's raining. You don't go outside and start to cover your flowers after the frost has fallen. You do it beforehand, right? Preparation is key. And as Kirby Smart said, there's prepared and there's unprepared, and we're going to be prepared.
Yeah, you don't wait until you're soaked to open the umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and Tony, that's what I want to make sure our clients and everybody listening, that we're not numb, thinking that just because everything is good and blessed today, that it's going to be that way going forward. Because I actually, it's funny, you said this on the show, and I had no intention of using what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it now. There is an article that's floating around that's actually talking about the comparisons between today's stock market and 1968. Do you know why 1968 was so impactful? It's because from 68 to essentially the early 80s, the market legitimately did not hardly go anywhere. It didn't have any returns to speak of. And the reason being is because it had run so much coming into the late 60s that PE, price to earnings, were very similar to what they are today. All of the indicators, the Buffett indicator, the Cape Shiller, all that was literally almost a mirror image. And I'm not saying it's not going to this is going to happen. I'm just telling you, when the yellow light starts flashing, you pay attention.
Right.
And that's the reason why I tell clients, we are certainly going to position ourselves to capture as much growth as our risk tolerance will allow. However, we are also always going to plan as if it's going to be like the 1968 period, the dot-com crash, the 2008. We're going to be able to retire into those periods and still have a good opportunity to be successful.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, and I have to basically force myself not to become numb like everybody else, because I'm human too. But that's the reason why, is we can't rest on our laurels. We can't think that just because the markets are great today, that they're going to be great in perpetuity. There will be a correction. I don't think that there's going to be a massive calamity, but is 15 to 20% out of the question? No. Is there going to be a dot-com crash 2008, 1968? I don't think so. But what if I'm wrong? What if you're wrong? My question to you is, are you letting yourself become numb to what's going on and just avoiding asking those hard questions? And Tony, I think there's a pretty good argument to say that most Americans are right now.
Yeah.
And that's something that's usually, Gene Munster from not Herman Munster, not talking about the Munster. I knew you were probably going to be like Grandpa Munster or something.
The
But
Munsters.
but Gene Munster from Deepwater, I actually heard him
Deepwater.
speak at EAF.
Yeah.
And that's what he said is he asked the room, and there was 100 of us in there. There's 100 advisors. He said,
Top
how many of you,
advisors,
how many of you guys feel good about the markets for the next 3 months? And almost everybody raised their hand. And he said, that's why you need to be worried. That's why you need to be worried. It's because, folks, when usually the herd is walking one way, you need to be diligent. Don't just rest on your druthers and let everything just continue on.
Don't just get caught up in the flow, right?
Sometimes you got to ask the hard question: is this really something that's going to benefit me long term, or is this a momentum play that if we start to see the momentum go the other way, it could get really ugly really quick? You need to be prepared no matter which way it goes.
Right.
The problem is, I don't think a lot of people, I know our clients are, but I don't think a lot of people that are not our clients are. Because no one's really having these hard discussions. Everybody wants to talk about rainbows and unicorns and making everybody feel good. Well, that's not really. It needs to be thought-provoking, not just telling someone what you want to hear. And that's what I believe we are in the position right now where we need to be having those hard conversations.
Yeah. And I think you're right. You don't want to get caught up in the flow and the good. Hey, we're historically low taxes. The market's just been going up and up and up. It seems like, every month we hear about it hitting a new record high. But can that be sustained? And what I've found surprising this year, other than April, other news of tariffs, wars, government issues, things that you would have expected to affect the market have not. Usually the market has these quick reactions, like it'll have a quick correction and then back up when something happens, like the tariffs. And that's what makes me wonder. We'll have to wait and see, because as of this recording, we don't know if the government's going to shut down, but they're talking about a government shutdown. And in the past, a government shutdown the market would react negatively. And now we'll see. It might be a little down today, but we'll see. But the market hasn't really been affected by these little things. I mean, U.S. companies have been strong, and that's what the market should be based on. But once in a while, a politician will say something or something will happen, and you see, somebody sneezes in China and the market drops. I always used to say that, but hasn't been happening lately, has it?
It has not, Tony, and that's really the main reason that comment resonated this morning when you and I were talking pre-show. Is we have come to a point, and let's think through this logically. If we were just dropped here, right? You didn't go through what you've been through over the last 5 years, right? We were just
Right.
dropped here out of a spaceship, right? And obviously we know there's UFOs now.
Sure.
So if we if we were just dropped here and you were given all the data that you have today, what would you do? You would plan going forward. You wouldn't let the previous events affect you. And that's what I really feel like we need a wake-up call, because you can't go back. Things that have happened have happened. Right. We have to move forward. Like I said, life is 10% what happens, 90% how you react to it. But if you're asking me today, are people preparing? The answer is no. Thank goodness. Last year we got hit hard by the hurricane. This year there was actually 2 hurricanes off the coast of Georgia, and both of them hung a hard right and went back out to sea. Thank God. But think about if you were that person that went out and last year after the storm and you're like, you know what, I know it might be good weather, but we're going to prepare, and you're going to get a generator, and you're going to basically, have all the water and the potted meat. If you got Carl from Sling Blade coming over, right? you got all the things and the sandwiches, etc.
Sure.
Do you think that that's wasted energy to be prepared if something like that happens?
No.
That's the reason, honestly. Just and this is just
be prepared.
Not even something I was really going to correlate. But whenever I was picking my book title 10 years ago, coming out of the financial crisis, I called it Navigating the Storm. Well, the reason it's navigating the storm is life can happen in a hurry. And all of a sudden you're sailing on these calm seas, and then all of a sudden it's really choppy, and then it becomes really dangerous, and it can happen fast, and then it'll recede, but then there's another storm right around the horizon. So we certainly don't want to get caught flat-footed. Don't become numb to what's going on. Have the hard conversations with your advisor, or don't be afraid to think about things differently, because where we have come from is not necessarily where we're going, and we need to be prepared no matter what. So Tony, I think that was a pretty thought-provoking show.
Yeah.
That was a little different, right? We did mention some taxes and things, but retirement, a lot of times it's got just as much of an emotional component as it does a financial component.
Oh, yeah. And you've talked about that on past shows as well. Well, this has been a great show, Travis. But before we go, let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you if they have questions or say, hey, I want a plan in place. I want to be prepared.
Absolutely. Tony, right now we are actually, as I said, in the middle of our classes for this fall. So we've got 2 coming up, one in Pooler, one in Statesboro. They can give us a call, 877-269-0839. Get more information on those. They can go to our website, chancefinancialgroup.com. There's actually a link to be able to book an appointment directly on the website. And then also, folks, just keep this in mind. My philosophy is this: having a plan in place eliminates a lot of risk. Can't mitigate everything, but it can reduce a lot of risk and eliminate a lot of risk. But I think, Tony, more than anything, a second opinion does 2 things. One, it either proves that what you're doing is the right thing to do, or number 2, it proves that what you're doing is not the right thing to do. My question is, why would you not want both of those questions answered?
Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't you? So give that phone number one more time, Travis.
Absolutely. 877-269-0839.
All right. And that does it for today's episode of Navigating Your Retirement with our host, Travis Chance.